Welcome and thank you for listening. My name's Amanda-Rey.
I'm Rance-Vinson.
And you are here for the Songwriters Circle about the artists.
So, Amanda, what are we doing here?
It appears that we are here to talk about local songwriters.
That seems to be what we've been up to for a while.
We've been at this for, a year and a half now?
Something like that, I think.
So just to give you guys a little bit of an overview of what we do, Rance and I host a once-a-month event at Nomad's Music Lounge in South Fayetteville, and it is called the Songwriters-circles. We sit down with regional and local artists, and we nurture out the stories behind their songs, and we give a little short interview process, and here are some of their performances. We'll edit that out later.
And thanks to Fayetteville Public Access, we've been able to film and release videos at a fairly high clip recently.
Yeah, we started recording this just for our own personal playback reasons, and we discovered that there was a call for it. People were listening. There was an audience for us, and through the help of Fayetteville Public Television, we have been able to begin doing very high quality videos and release them for the public to see.
We've attracted the likes of professors, of various artists of just about every genre I can think of now. The only thing that we've talked about is we haven't quite had a hip-hop artist yet. So hip-hop artists, there is a call-out
if
officially.
You're listening to this right now, we are looking for you. Hip-hop spoken word. We would love to get behind that and dive into it as much as we've had the opportunity with the other genres of artists. We've had blues artists, country artists, hillbilly string bands. We've
had gospel, we've had banjo, we've had mandolin and fiddle.
We had metal bands.
We did. We've got a metal band. In fact, that's on this show.
Yeah, but we're going to be talking about Leona, also Drawing Blanks, and the one and only multi-talented Richard Burnett. We're going to go right straight into talking about the artists that we had the opportunity to interview. First one being Drawing Blanks, which we had two of the members, Joel Robertson and Sawyer Hill, with us. And we got a really interesting point of view from very young, talented artists.
So I think that's what the audience was most impressed by, was the age of those guys, because I remember being that age, and we were trying to put stuff together, but they've gone so far.
You know what I was trying to put together? My makeup kit.
Yeah.
That's all I could focus on, boys and makeup. And I was in band because there was a guy with long hair that played drums in band, and so that's why I was there.
There's a lot of us.
I'm not going to name names or say the high school I went to. If you know me, you might be able to figure it out, and if you do, find me on Facebook. Let's talk. No, but the maturity that this duo brought to the circle was not one that we were expecting. The way that I have structured some of these events is I like to choose artists who are beginners and put them up on stage with people who are somewhat intermediate with experience, and then professionals, people who have been at it for an extended amount of time. We were all blown away by the maturity and the depth that they brought as a duo, as songwriters.
Now, the thing that amazed me most, I think, was the amount of articulation they were able to bring to the table about their songwriting process. They got as detailed as anybody else that day about their process, and we got to hear some details, I think, age surprising maybe, but they were racy. They were the first ones to bring up women in closets. It was I couldn't have even talked like that about my music at that age.
Well, that's a great point to leave this on. Let's go ahead and take a listen to part of that interview right now.
It's a beautiful one.
So, I understand you've got an album coming out as a duo?
Yeah.
So is that going to be on the album?
Yes, it is. Yeah.
Okay. What is your inspiration behind One More Night? Be honest.
Honest? Going to California by Led Zeppelin.
Oh yeah,
that's some.
For him.
That's what your inspiration was.
For that, not the lyrics, but as far as the writing,
your
the music.
tone. That's really cool. So, who writes the lyrics here? Both of you
Both
write
of us.
together?
Yeah.
how does that work? As opposed to, I'm an individual songwriter, so I don't ask for input unless I'm stuck somewhere. But often when I'm stuck somewhere, I don't have anybody to ask input from, so I assume you spend a lot of time together.
Oh yeah, we're basically always around each other.
But it's, as far as writing together goes, it's for the most part me and Joel click because we've been writing for years now.
2 years.
2 years. I mean, not for years.
That is years.
2 years.
That's plural now.
But like sometimes we'll give a line and then you'll have another person to go, that's stupid. Don't put that in.
No, and that's really great. It's like that's really cheesy. Don't do that.
Yeah, well, sometimes you have it's helped to have an editor with you.
It
at
is,
all times.
or that, or it does the exact opposite. It's like you write something, you're like
dumb, and they like it, and it sticks. So.
Yeah. No. So that's, but I found him when I was a senior in high school, and he was a little freshman, and I hated him because he wore suspenders around his waist.
I was a scene kid back in the day.
And my girlfriend at the time was tired because I always see him carrying around a guitar. I'm like, who the fuck does he think he is? And she's like, stop bitching and go talk to him. And I did, and I played for him, and he really he liked my stuff a lot. I was like, thanks. And he was like, no problem. He's like, if you ever need a rhythm guitarist, I was like, I do. And he's like, oh. And I was like, so you want to be my rhythm guitarist? And that's exactly how it started.
Wow. So do you find that you take the lead on the initializing the songwriting itself? Do you or is it pretty even?
It really just depends. It's pretty even.
Like he'll come to me, he's like, dude, I wrote a song last night. I'm like, all right, let's hear it, and then we'll put together something.
And there's never anything you're just like, no, like what you said.
Sometimes no, we have we just wrote a song for Drawing Blanks called "Lover in the Sky," and the first night we wrote that, we were going at it. And he was trying to change something like, that's stupid, don't do that. And we ended up getting in an argument. And we're like, just fucking write it. And we finished it tomorrow. We finished the next song. We wrote it the next day. But
so when you write for your band equally has, you all jam together, you all write together.
Yeah, we all jam. Like
our band doesn't all write together. We write our stuff.
All the songs are written by me and Sawyer.
Right.
But we don't tell them what to do. It's like, hey.
It's a natural.
Yeah, it's like, we got this. Write a part for it.
And the guys who are not with us today, what are their names?
The bassist name is Jared Gwynn, and our drummer's name is Davis Young.
Okay, and how long have y'all been together collectively as Drawing Blanks?
Drawing, like this lineup, the only steady lineup really. We had like a bassist for a while, and then we couldn't get a drummer, and the bassist like, I'm gonna quit, and then we get a drummer, and then we wouldn't have a bassist, But this lineup, and we got steady as of May of last year.
Nice. So it sounds like regardless of a rhythm section behind you, you're still going to put your music out there and support it yourself with your own hands and your own voices, whether you've got guys behind you or not.
Yeah, exactly.
I thought that.
And the Robertson Hill thing that we're doing is because we started a rock and roll band, and we play a lot of like really heavy like blues-based stuff all the time. But we also, on the side, write a bunch of cheese stick emotional acoustic music on the other side. And we're like, these are good songs.
Well, stick with your cheese sticks out, because how about we hear another one? You got another one? Come on, you can think of something.
I think one of the things that is just remarkable to me, because I write songs, but I am the suckiest guitar player. And it's just a means to an end, because I'm just not very good. Y'all are, like, amazing. And it just kind of blows my mind that you're doing the rhythms that you do, because you're it's your drum and it's your guitar, and you're just so creative with it, and your leads are amazing.
Thank you.
So when y'all get together, what's the percentage do you think on like tunes first or lyrics first?
It's always the music first.
Music first.
We cannot I've tried, and it's just I can't.
That's interesting.
No other way.
So it's always music first.
Always music first.
So, but do you find yourself as like during the day, like jotting down little lines or anything?
No,
like that?
this actually on the song that we have with Drawing Blanks called Mercy, that we just wrote. I had written. I was cleaning my room. I was like putting posters up and I was reorganizing everything, and I was like singing to myself this thing. I was like, "It was good," and I like grabbed my phone and recorded it. And then later that night, he brought me the song Mercy, and I was like, "Hey," and I just literally just put it right in there.
It just kind of copy and
It
paste
fit
and fit.
perfect. And I was like,
wow.
Actually, the riff on that song, I wrote that song. The last song we played, I wrote it a few weeks ago. But I wrote that riff like a year ago.
yeah, I wrote that riff a year ago.
Isn't it funny how it takes a while for a song to really be fully born? Like you go into labor with it for like days and years and months, and then finally it grows and
This thing we've had for 2 years, which is.
It was such a fun interview, so much fun with those guys. I really enjoyed having them with us that day. So without much further ado, let's just go ahead and take a listen to one of their songs. This is called One More Night.
Two angry kids lost at sea, but I had you and you had me. Nowadays we never talk too much, 'cause you're too busy and we both know I'm not enough.
You said I didn't need to worry, but I guess I'd rather be safe than sorry.
If I ever said I was right, or just couldn't find the time, hold you in my arms like you understood, gave you my heart, but it's no good.
Baby, I wish we could go back in time like we said we would, and change all the things that started the fight. Then maybe then stay one more night.
Think of your face every now and then, wonder how you are and where you've been. Does your dad still smoke and your brother toke? He used to hang off of every word that you spoke.
I said I'd bury every memory, but I guess I'd rather be safe than sorry.
If I ever said I was right, or just couldn't find the time, hold you in my arms like you understood, gave you my heart, but it's no good.
Baby, I wish we could go back in time like we said we would, and change all the things that started the fight. Then maybe then stay one more night.
Again, that was One More Night by the songwriting duo Robertson Hill of Drawing Blanks. Those boys come to us out of Siloam Springs, Arkansas, and we are very, very glad to have had them with us for the Songwriters Circle. If you'd like to find out more about Drawing Blanks, check them out on Facebook. You can also check them out live. They do live performances all over Fayetteville. Let's get into Leona. Formerly known as Leona's Last Breath, they have transformed. Would you say that they've grown up, Rance?
I've seen them grown up. You've seen it too. I remember when one member of this band, Halen, guitar player and producer of Leona's, was more into the Civil War stuff than he was into a guitar.
That's right.
So I saw whenever he was collecting money for his first real guitar, the guitar that he was going to choose. It was a beautiful moment for him. So yes, as a matter of fact, these guys were the guys of Drawing Blanks. When we interviewed them, and now these guys have grown up. They've been in the studios. They've written music.
And we say grown up, they're still in their early 20s, but they have a lot more miles under their belt than some of the more quote unquote adult musicians that I've seen around here.
Absolutely, and that's what I love about their gusto and their zeal is. It reminds me of me, and I enjoyed it. In my 20s, all I wanted to do was build studios, write music with my friends, and they embody that, and it was a beautiful time for me too.
They're like a pack of wolves. They treat their band like it's family, and their music is their lifestyle. They've adapted their jobs around it. They've adapted relationships around it, and it's really a refreshing thing to see. You know, if you've been in this business for any amount of time and you've worked with any number of people, people come and go, and you can't really get personally attached to a lot of people, but these guys embody the personal attachment. They embody the definition of that, and their music shows because of it. And
they describe it in the interview that's forthcoming about those transitions, about having different lineups and how some of the members that they started with that they held dear in those moments aren't with them anymore, and so they've been through so many transitions.
But they still say that if it wasn't for that guy, we wouldn't be here today. And I love that part of the interview. The gentleman they were referring to was not in the building at all, and
nope.
They still had to give respect and props for their homie. So, yes, America, I just said homie. So let's take a listen to, actually, do you want to play their song? Let's play their song
We'll play their song first.
All right, so interesting part about this, I asked a metal band to do an acoustic performance.
They are screamo.
They are very guttural sounding.
At times, but they do the melodic thing too.
They have clean vocals as well.
They have dynamics.
And I was turned on to this song by Halen. He's very, very good at whenever they have something recorded or a show coming up, he sends personal messages and asks his friends to take a listen and take a like, and it's really what you've got to do. But this song "Nowhere Fast," I absolutely fell in love. It's got 950 views, I think, on YouTube. I'm about 75 of those, just personal listening and showing off.
I'm quite a few of them too. He hit me up as soon as they released it.
Yeah. So, and to ask an entire band to come in for our Songwriters Circles, that was a first.
It was.
And it changed the dynamic of the interview, which made it all the more great for me. So, yeah, like I said, this is an acoustic performance. We're in a basement. We don't have full band set up. We're sitting on stools. There's no microphones at this point. We're lucky just to have anything recording the interview at all. And I asked a metal band to do an acoustic performance of their song, and what came out of it was amazing. Instead of screaming vocals, the vocalist broke out into spoken word, and I think that was the most endearing thing, is watching these guys adapt on the fly to something that they committed to doing because we're friends.
Absolutely. They were in the green room figuring it out just moments before their performance.
They were trying to hash out what they were going to do, and they've never in their lives been posed with this request, to break it down like that. And I'm very, very grateful that, that they opened themselves up to that idea and did it, because it was great. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a listen to the full song, and you can find it on YouTube. We'll shoot you a link. Check out our website. But we're going to listen to the song Nowhere Fast, and they're going to give you a short clip of the live acoustic.
Drink away my cause, the liquor shall end. There's nowhere left to go.
that song. It's one of my favorites still to this day. So let's take a listen to the acoustic version, shall we?
Embraced by filth that lives deep within. Trace back to my roots of ruin.
Robertson Hill and Leona later on in the show, because we do bring them back up for a more deeper panel discussion. So just hold on to your horses there. But we're going to move forward with Richard Burnett now, one of my personal favorites so far on this journey.
Dickie.
We were very lucky to have him grace us with his presence and his character. He is definitely he's something else. I love this interview. This is one of my favorite ones so far, like I said. So I'm just going to stop yakking now and let you guys listen to the one and only Richard Burnett.
I can't even remember the first time I met you. And how?
I know, probably Isaiah.
Probably. Everybody meets through Isaiah.
Everybody meets through Isaiah. So I'm going to go ahead and introduce you as someone who I know as a singer-songwriter of multiple bands, of multiple styles of music. And so
we'll have to keep starting new bands because I don't want anybody to know who I am.
Right. It's the undiscovery.
Try not to get famous here.
The undiscovery of Richard Burnett.
Mm-hmm.
So we're not going to discover.
That's why you see me at places like JJ and stuff, so nobody even goes there. You know, so they're like, who was that guy? I don't know. Who cares?
Well, while we've got you here, can you play me an original song?
You want to hear original song?
I want to hear original song.
All right. I'll play one of my favorites here. It's called Outlaw Hippies. It's going to be the name of my new band that I'm going to be doing all original songs in because I need an outlet for that because I keep playing in different bands with doing original stuff, but I'm just not happy. So I'm going to do this band called Outlaw Hippies for now, and it started Sunday. Or yesterday. Put the band together yesterday because I got booked for a festival and some other stuff, so I got to have a band. They wouldn't let me have my other bands for political reasons, and I can't go into that right now. So I started a band called Outlaw Hippies. Look for us. We'll be out there. We're going to be doing all original songs. So here it is, Outlaw Hippie. Here we go. It's about the life I live, really, and all my friends. I guarantee all my friends have been in trouble once. They're still hippies, but they're always running from the law. Try not to get tried. Long nights and evenings, stay out till morning. Always something on their mind. I wouldn't play this song at JJ because nobody here would play. Start all over. Nights and evenings, stay out till morning. Always something on their mind. 3 shots of whiskey and a pull from the kind. Bottle that musky down wine. They're never too early. Always do what they say. Always do what they gotta do to get paid. It's a blacktop path. It's a dirt road coming. Start a brand new day. Just a few of my outlaw hippies. Just a few of their kind. They never get in no hurry. They're always taking their time. Just a few of my outlaw hippies. It's a breed that's never gonna die. Little lives in the soul of the young ones to come. These outlaw hippies, just a few of their kind. Don't ever try to tell them what they should do. They only do what they know. You can try to judge them, but they won't give a damn. They're happy just the way they am. Don't ever try to cross for the ones that they love. A woman, child, mean everything. They don't need no law, will tell them it's right. That's something they do on their own. Just a few outlaw hits, just a few of their kind. They never get in no hurry. They're always taking their time. Just a few outlaw hits. It's a breed that's never gonna die, 'cause it lives in the soul of the young ones to come. These outlaw hippies, just a few of their kind. Yeah, but these outlaw hippies, just a few of their kind.
And I've seen you play in so many different kinds of bands with cover tunes. So, where do your originals come from? Like, where have they been, and what are you gonna do with them?
Stuck in here all my life.
Right there, yeah.
I keep them hidden from people because I want people to hear them.
Well, that's kind of ironic.
Well, if you're playing like restaurants, I don't really bust them out, you know.
So let's talk about that dynamic. What you're used to. You're used to festivals with full band.
Yeah,
and you're
I'll bust
used
them out
to
at festivals for sure. Yeah.
But and the opposite side of that, as far as being a singer-songwriter, is you're not often in a room where your songs are heard. They're heard, but they're not listened to.
Yeah, if they're not, I don't think people are paying attention. If I don't have their attention, I'm not going to play my originals.
Do you find
I'm
yourself
play
frustrated?
a song they know, so I'll put some money in the jar because I'm trying to make a living here.
So did you find yourself frustrated with that, or did you give up on that frustration?
I don't give a fuck.
I love it.
I really don't. I mean, I'm up there to play, and I'm going to have fun when I play. And it's.
When did you pick up a guitar?
Where did I pick one up at?
When did you pick one up?
I guess I guess I'm old enough to play with constructs. I don't know if anybody remembers those. It's during during Legos. You know what I'm talking about. We put constructs together. I get rubber bands and try to make me a guitar forever. So I was wanting to play guitar my whole life, and like any instrument I'd get, I'd tear up. You know, my parents wouldn't buy me any because I get my dad's harmonica and start beating on it with a stick. And they're like, burn, burn. My dad paid like $100 for the harmonica and make all these noises. Like, yeah. They finally got me a guitar at a garage sale, and I beat the hell out of it with sticks because it sounded like you hit it real hard. It sounded like electric guitar. You know, I started off heavy metal. You know, that was my passion.
Really?
Oh yeah.
I would never have guessed that.
Yeah. I started off before I played guitar. All my friends could play guitar better than me. They could play like Kirk Hammett and all that, and I couldn't. You know, so I'd scream. And I lost my voice somewhere in there. I couldn't scream no more. Could have been all the drugs I did during that time.
That happens.
I did a lot of heavy drugs when I was 15, 16, 17.
That could ruin it.
19, 20, 25, 30, 36. 38.
So there's been some substances that might have distracted from your metal career. Let's just put it that way.
Yeah. My metal career kind of went down.
It tanked.
The only way to make it in metal is stay sober, y'all.
True.
Metal is a hard ass.
That's very true. As what we just saw from our last guys. You know,
that's right. Yeah.
It takes a lot of energy and a lot of. So let's get back to Richard and your songs.
I like to write parody kind of songs that are just stupid, you know. So I like to write stupid songs. So here's a song about I usually write a lot of songs about women that left me. You know, I know know y'all thinking, how could a woman ever leave that guy like me? So I got several of those songs, you know. And I don't know why in the hell I get hired for weddings. I get hired for weddings. Why in the hell you want to hire me for a wedding? I'm going to sing about how relationships don't work. That's the story of my life. I'm a musician. I live the nightlife, and it's hard for me to hold down a relationship. Or I just don't want it anymore. I was like, you go to bed too early. And I'm up all night waiting to have some fun. So, but anyways, this is kind of...
What would you give as a songwriter's perspective as far as style? Have you ever been put on a deadline, like to write a song, or like with a group? Or have you ever been like, have you ever had to like, well, we've got to write this song, we've got to get it out? Anything like? Have you ever been put on a deadline at any time to write a song, or even your own personal deadline to write a song?
Never.
Do you have an album that you're working on, or something that you're, like, aside from, I mean, I know you're putting the band together, but is that band going to record those originals?
At my house. You know, probably not at a studio. But
maybe, you never know.
maybe if
I like
somebody
those songs.
wants to-
Those are pretty catchy.
Somebody wants to front it someday. If anybody's got the money here.
Hey, you know, that's kind of what we're here. We're all kind of here to support and learn about each other. And
Kickstarter. Do you ever Kickstarter?
no Kickstarters.
Didn't work.
None of those crowdsourcing things seem to work for me. What seems to work is actually what we're doing here is kind of crossing genres and crossing styles and getting to know each other in a different way, because Leona's Last Breath may not have time to come see a Richard Burnett show at JJ's. JJ, you might be playing at JJ's during a
You serious?
drawing blanks. You're going to break his heart.
I mean, I was going to ask y'all. I don't have one.
But you might not get to go see a drawing blank show, but to getting us all together in a room and discussing the stories behind our songs, why we play our music. Yeah, cover songs are fun and they get you paid. Sure. But in a metal band, that's not true. If you're covering another metal band songs, you're getting sued. Because if you're in any way successful with it,
will sue your ass.
yes, for sure.
We all know that.
For sure. So, and you being in this professional business for as long as you have, playing for money, you know, you've learned the aspect of keeping the crowd engaged with cover tunes and those kind of things. But you still, your original songs are, I think, so much, they tell so much about you, who you are, as opposed to the cover tunes. Do you like lifting that? I know you've been kind of joking. I don't want anybody to know who I am, but do you like to lift that veil, or is it something you prefer to keep private?
I'll do what I'll do is I'll just play songs, and I don't like to waste my originals on somebody that listen. But if somehow I start getting everybody's attention at a bar, I'll start busting out the originals, and I have a lot more fun that way, of course. But
And I've gotten to see that happen a few times, coming to see your shows.
my new album coming out 2027. It's going to be in all your local hardware stores. Shortly after release, it'll be at your local Goodwill. Which I suggest to wait. Goodwill price, because it's about 95% off. And my new CD, it's actually out, but it's a new CDR. It's a CDR.
CDR.
Got a new CDR coming out pretty soon. It's all organic. No animals were hurt in the process. My cat got kicked when I was cutting out the CD covers because I cut that out. He jumped on my lap, and it's gluten free, so you can actually consume it if you like. My CDs have been thrown out the windows by wives that their husbands would not quit listening to. I'm most most popular for my song "Brother Dad." When I wrote a song about when I found out my brother was my dad. Places like Club West, and that was open. Somebody said, "Play Brother Dad," and I heard some guy in the background goes, "You ain't playing that shit in here, boy." Hell no, I ain't. I'm gonna play something else, because that's the place you get killed at. I played a lot of places where you get killed at. I try to just stay pretty low key.
So, at this time, does anyone in the room have any questions for Richard at all? Come on, Miss Brenda. I know you've got one. I know you've got a question. Have you ever seen Richard before? Have you ever gotten to watch him?
No, I'm just like amazed. You're really great.
All
I've
of
seen you
these
before.
guys are in our backyard.
When's that CD coming out?
2027.
I got some already out too, so
We'll pre-order it right now.
yeah, you should. Yeah.
No one has any questions?
Hey, where,
All right, what you got?
where do you play the most around town?
Where'd I play the
I was
most around
thinking
town?
at, like, the locals place. Do you play anywhere else?
My favorite places I like to play. I play the most probably is George's and Smoking Barrel. It's like-
Yes, good
Those are the
shows.
places I like to play because they got built-in crowds, and I'm looking to play for people, not like, hey, I'm playing here. Who
Right.
cares? You play somewhere every night.
Well, so let's talk about traveling a little bit. I always am interested to hear your talks about travels because you're so funny and your perspective on life is hilarious. So, what's your favorite place that you've traveled to? I know that you've gone to Sturgis 2 years in a row, or is it 3?
I went 3 years in a row.
3 years in a row, so you traveled to Sturgis to go play that main bike rally up there. Meanwhile, coming back home and playing Bikes, Blues, and Barbecue. Then you go. Have you been over to Nashville?
Yeah, I've done the Nashville.
What's
thing
your
many times.
favorite place in the United States that you played so far? That you're like your ideal gig where you had a room full of listeners. Like, what was that like? Where was that?
I don't know, St. Louis was a lot of fun. Because, you get there, you get the band there, and it's, you like, people were like, hey, y'all in a band? You're like driving around, and you turn on the radio, it's like, hey, we got Polk County Bootleggers playing down here at the
That's
band
right, you
club
had
and
a band
stuff.
called...
I mean, it's exciting when that happens, when you get to a place and you get to a different town, and it's different. You get respected more when you go out of town.
Very
If you're in
good.
your own hometown, to be honest with you, your people love you when you leave. I'd much rather you leave and get the hell out of our town. Yeah, go get the hell out of here, then come back. We might come watch you.
Right.
And that's how it is in other towns. Everybody likes the new.
So do you find that when you go out of town and you play your originals stuck in there in the covers, so do you get a good response, a better response from a blank canvas crowd than you would?
I think you get a better response. People have never seen you before.
Yeah.
They're like, who's this? All right, what you got? Then people are going to listen. They're automatically going to see what you got. We're here in Fayetteville. People are going to be like, oh, it's Richard. Hey, how you doing? Oh, we're going to go outside.
So I'm
and
at
smoke.
Walmart, yeah.
Hey, we're going to go to Georgia. Sorry we can't make Smoking Barrel tonight. Really, we're going to miss you. We got leftover salmon plate. I know. Competition.
Right.
I don't care. Go ahead.
Right. Well, that's part of it. I encourage you to keep going with those original songs. I love everything that you do. Again, like with your cover bands, with whether you've got a washboard and a stand-up bass on stage or electric guitars for days, you're playing with Isaiah or you're playing with RJ Michaud. I mean, I haven't gotten to come to the Chancellor to see that little duo thing, but you're like kind of like, don't even bother, like don't even come, like. But it's something to like. It's very interesting. Everything that you do is you put different dynamic in it, and you put yourself in it 100%. So whether you're playing a cover tune or not, it's still Richard, in my opinion.
I enjoy every gig, even if it's just me and the bartender.
Right? Exactly. Anybody else have any more questions for Richard?
Have you ever done house concerts anywhere? Like traveled around and...
I'm not really traveling doing house concerts, but I played a lot of people's houses.
All right, you've been listening to the Songwriters Circle about the artists. I'm Rance-Vinson.
I'm Amanda-Rey.
And we just heard the interview of Richard Burnett from our circle about bands, and I just want to tell a little backstory about Richard because I didn't get into this much. He and I worked together at the Natural Food Co-op, Ozark Natural Food, the warehouse edition, not the retail store.
Really?
And that's how I met Philip Eubanks, and that's how I met so many of those Russellville artists that moved up during that time, during the mid and late 90s. And we all graduated together in 96, 95, 94. And I just think it's amazing that we've all been able to come together. And he was nervous. I mean, you can hear it in the interview. He talks about it a little bit in the interview.
I know. It's my favorite thing.
Which blows me away because Richard is one of the most professional artists that I've ever met. And it's a valuable thing that I was able to play in a band with him. And we don't talk about it much. We had a little metal band. Never had a name. Never had a singer. So this circle meant a lot to me because of that, because of the history I share with Richard, and that's what we talked about since we began this, about catching the history of Northwest Arkansas music, everybody that we can catch, American music.
Yeah,
really.
and he definitely is a a huge part of our local community, just through the number of bands that he's put together, the number of musicians I've been fortunate to meet through Richard, and I mean, shoot, the gigs we've played together, those are some of the most fun things, it's just, and it's not something that we worked real hard at doing, just like you heard in the interview, just all you gotta do is just, hit play with Richard, and there he goes.
It is. It's true. It's like that. It really is like that.
He is a consummate performer and entertainer.
And that's something that this circle provided for me, because I never got to play a show with Richard. I've never played alongside Richard on stage, like our bands played at the same time. And so through the Shack Rats, through all of his solo career, I've never got to actually have a performance situation with Richard. And then that's what brought it to the table.
Well, that's what the Songwriters Circle is for. It's to bring everyone together. If you are an aspiring songwriter, if you're an experienced songwriter, if you just like to listen to people talk about themselves, that's what this show is for. Is we don't see that some of the artists have a listening audience most of the time, and that is kind of what we wanted to create, was a safe space.
And we do. We have a lot of greenhorns come, and it does make them nervous to have the cameras, to have the audio in front of them.
But think about it. We didn't start with all that. We started in a basement at my house, and not my house. I was renting.
It was your house at the time, the sick house.
It was my domicile. But yeah, we started in a basement. We didn't have the forethought to record any. We have great interviews that we have with Opal Acafia, Chooch Meisenbacher, we have David Starr, Lacey Hampton, Brenda Basket. I mean, we have some of the most amazing memories of that, and so that's why we're doing this here today. That's why this show is here, is we want to share with you guys some of the gems, some of the stories that we've come across in getting to know your local musician.
So to that point, this songwriting circle, and we've gotten away from this in some of the modern songwriting circles. Some of the future podcasts that we'll have won't have as much of me in the questioning section. We're talking about remedying the format there, but this particular episode had an extensive interview portion, a panel interview where I interviewed all of the artists at once, and I wonder
under the spotlight of Rance.
Amanda and I have talked this a lot. Amanda and I have talked about this a lot. I ask different questions than you do, and we get such a variety of answers, and so that's why we're trying to bring it back. And I thought for this edition of the podcast, we'd listen to that interview portion in its entirety.
Absolutely.
All right, we'll get to that right now. This is me hitting these guys up, because I've known Richard for nearly 20 years, I guess. Yeah. So, she asked you a little bit about yourself and stuff. Whenever you sit down and you feel the need to write a song, what's some of the stuff that really inspires you? What comes to mind most often? If you have something that comes to mind most often, I mean, is it just random, or do you have a system?
Peace, like country roads and just being outside.
It's probably why you live where you live.
Well, yeah, it's easy to write about, just everyday things, I guess.
Well, so that covers the environment. Have you always written songs in that? I mean, you said you were metal at one time at first, so did you use the woods whenever you were thinking about thrash?
I thought about stuff like David Koresh and stuff, down Waco, Texas, stuff like that, especially in metal songs, or just like society, and like how.
I mean, take a song like Brother Dad. I mean, what the fuck?
Brother Dad?
Yeah, I mean,
just hanging out in places like Madison County.
Right.
People meet their girlfriends and family reunions and stuff. It really happens. It's true. We're out County Road driving when I used to drink and drive on County Road Drive, and me and my friend were, Brother Dad, that'd be funny. Talk with the stutter because my brother did my mother. Hey, that's and my friend came with that one. This girl. Now we got a song. I like funny songs, and I like all kinds of songs. Really, if there's something to write about, I'm always looking for something to write about because my mind is usually blank when it comes to writing. My best songs I write are like when I'm not even thinking about it. The pen's just moving. I read over it and put some lyrics to it, some chords to it, then start recording on my 8-track.
Do you do a lot of brainstorming for your songwriting? I mean, would you say that's accurate?
Sometimes, if I try to brainstorm about it, it's going to get overthought,
And I don't know if y'all caught that, but he records on an 8-track, and he's not joking.
That's awesome.
He does.
Not the 8-track cassette.
I know, I just thought it was funny.
I still watch Beta.
Wow.
Before VHS.
Cool. So, you guys, the same thing that I just asked him. What do you have any rituals? I mean, how do you approach songwriting?
I don't know. Usually it's just something like, well, I'll be messing around, and I think because like have always started out with music first, then lyrics. So I'll be working on a chord progression or a riff or something. I just think it sounds good enough, and then I'll write words to it, or he'll write words to it, or we don't really think about anything around it. Every song I've ever written has been in my room. So
Really?
yeah.
Wow.
No, sometimes I've locked myself in my closet. I'm like, I'm not leaving the closet until I finish a song. The only song that I've ever written anything like I've watched Hot Girls Wanted, and I couldn't even finish it. I'm not joking. Let me finish. I was so pissed off by the end of it that I went and wrote a song about it. I was really mad. I don't like doing things for money. Yeah.
So,
I was really mad.
just so you know, Joel puts himself in the Hot Girls Wanted mindset with me.
No, but that's true on a lot of other songs, though. A lot of other, if you flip the coin, on the other end of the coin, it's like, that's fucking sexy right there.
Yeah, right.
That's...
What channel is it on?
It's not that type of program.
So she asked a little bit about it. Do you guys split songwriting duties, or is there one of you that does probably more songwriting than the other?
We write pretty equally. Sometimes, like, if I don't want Joel to write on a song, then I'll just write it all by myself.
Right.
If he's got a song by himself, he'll write it all by himself. But if, like, say I'm stuck, or like, man, I don't know what to do for these next few verses, like, you gotta come in, and then we'll write it together.
Or on not most cases. On some cases, it's like we both experienced something. It's like, you don't write a song about this unless I'm there with
you. Well, that definitely is environment, yeah, for sure. So, is there any inspirational thing that is it just the TV shows? I mean, what what other things have you used? What's you know?
I guess mostly it's like
personal experiences.
I don't know.
Usually bad.
Bad. Because it's a lot harder to write a happy song. At least for us, it's really hard to write a happy song.
I don't know. It's easier to write out of pain, and I guess like blues. You write it when you're feeling blues. So
yeah, and that's mostly what at least my writing and playing is based out of is blues. So.
Ooh. Leona's? I mean, how do you come up with this shit?
I don't know. They wrote at least 3 or 4 of the songs that we're currently playing right now, well before I even joined the band. But as of us being a unit, we just kind of get together and we'll just kind of mesh off of one another. If someone has a vocal pattern, such as, Trevor, for instance, we'll work it out, figure the music out behind it, or, vice versa. If Halen and Jeremiah, our drummer, have come up with a part of a song, then we'll work it out, put vocals over it, and then just piece by piece try to put something together.
Who's the most prolific songwriter? I mean, who writes the most?
I would say Halen writes the most.
Yeah.
But I think I'm kind of the director of the show when it comes to keeping everybody on track and not going from sounding like, band A to sounding something out of genre or just weird. Done that though, it's pretty smooth, simple process. It just takes time.
Yeah.
Do you guys have any environmental factors that? I mean, I know you like to head down in the studio a lot, so is there anything any of you guys like to do, or someplace to be out in the woods like Richard? Or?
I think I'd say one of the things we do before we practice or get the idea for songs, say we're find a band or a song we really like, we show it to each other, and we just kind of go hey, maybe we can try to branch off out and incorporate some of that, an influence. Yeah.
So it's more of a headspace than an actual space that matters more in your
I
songwriting.
mean, we do the majority of our writing at our practice spot. It's not really a, hey, let's go drop acid in the woods and try to write something. Like we're not like that. But
No locked up in closets.
No,
none of that stuff.
no, we're out of the closet.
All right. Oh, that's.
They just burned you.
All right. So quick, I'm going to come back to Richard. Let me have a little story about, if you can remember, the first songwriting experience you have. Like a memory, like what was the first track you cranked out and you knew that was the song, you were going to play it, you were going to write music to it, all that good stuff?
Probably Hot Girls Gone Wild.
The theme.
It's the truth.
So that's the first, is that the name of the song that you wrote? Like,
I can't remember the name of the first song I ever wrote. Maybe Balin Hay. Maybe it was about how funny it was if this guy, this redneck come up to you and says, I'm going to kick your ass, but first I got to go bale hay. And when I get done, I'm going to kick your ass. So the song's like anticipation all day. You're going to get your ass kicked.
I hear that used to happen more often, like people would pick a fight with each other, but they'd have to go to work first.
They have to go to work. It's like riding the school bus, I'll meet you at the school bus.
Yeah, that's right.
I was like, what are you going to do? When I get to the school bus, you're going to kick my ass.
So, what first songwriting experience like that you can remember or recall?
About you? 'Cause I know mine.
My first songwriting experience, man, it was bad. I mean, it wasn't terrible. Yeah, it was all right. But it made me know, like, I can do it maybe some point,
Right.
and that I like doing it. But it was just some generic blues song. In fact, that's what me and him call
We
it.
call it. Whenever we play it, it was like, which one's next? It's like generic blues. I don't know the actual name of the song.
Me and Richard had a song back when we had a band called the Granddad Song because it was the first song that was written. So
And it was a long song. So
it was. It's a long song.
But I had been writing a while before he had. And because like I said, I met him when I was a senior in high school. He was a freshman. So I had been writing since I was a freshman in high school. And like the first song I ever wrote was, I would, like, whenever I was a freshman, what was I into? Bob Dylan, the Beatles, and Mumford and Sons. So it's really folky. It's called Home, and it's also gonna be on our upcoming album. But it's just really pretty and like finger style stuff. I didn't start writing any electric stuff until I started listening to Led Zeppelin, Eric Clapton, and stuff like that. Then that's whenever I started turning my focus towards rock and roll instead of folk music.
You guys have a good memory, good story to tell with the first song that you each one of you, all of you together as a band. I mean, whatever you got. I prefer stories that from yourselves though, like sitting in the closet as a freshman in high school. Like that's the first song I wrote, kind of memory.
We started really coming together actually at West Campus in Fayetteville. We Mr. Geaney still has practice in there, and so we just like go there every day after school or certain days, and just screw around.
Was that a teacher?
Yeah, as our principal.
Yeah.
Huh? Gotta love good fucking teachers.
Yeah.
The principal let you into practice.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah, let's practice in
Gotta
the
love Fayetteville High
cafeteria.
School.
Wow.
It sounded horrible.
Yeah, no, totally. I've done the gymnasium games, man. Like back in high school, it's god awful.
But yeah, we just started messing around in there. Finally got some material, started working on it, and then lots of time passed then, and that's really not a thing we're doing. Like with this lineup now, like he said, we just write in our room and like our practice room. But we try to write, I don't know, kind of like super feelsy, but at the same time like aggressive, like you said, but with the message of like happiness,
Interesting.
Yeah, it's really
Got a mean way of being happy.
yeah.
So you're the newest member of the band. Have you guys all known each other for a long time, or?
As acquaintances for a while, simply because being in the metal scene locally, you run into bands all the time. So you'll meet members, but it's not like you really form a relationship with them. It's just more like, oh, we're on the same show. But I've known Halen for almost 3 years or so now. We used to be in another band together before this one. I've known Trevor on and off around that same time. But joining Leona's, we definitely grown a lot closer. But yeah, being in other bands, writing process is basically the same thing. As a vocalist, I just kind of get thrown on top of everything. It wasn't really until joining Leona's that Halen was like, would come to me a lot like, what do you want to do here? I'm like, well, I don't play guitar, but I can sing, I know how to stay in key and everything, so we figure it out.
So have you been writing songs for a long time? I mean...
Yeah, but I wouldn't say that haven't really been crazy proud of my material until I joined Leona's.
I mean, that sounds like an artist to me, so...
Yeah.
It's kind of our, like you said, with this questioning and stuff, it's when I write stuff, I want everybody else to tell their own story on the song, and that comes from a lot of our writing too.
Collaboration is pretty awesome. It's the part I miss out of bands. Being in one is like, oh, you sit around with your homies and write tracks. It's amazing.
Right.
All right, guys. That's all I got. Thank you so much.
I don't have resting bitch face. We're going to keep recording just because it's fun right now. Something might come out of this.
I mean, it's outtakes. Be real shit. I don't mean from Cypress Hills.
Oh, man, I want to listen to Cypress Hill now. Welcome back. Next time, we're going to talk to Jana Faulkner-Perry, Derek Mears, and Chris Goering. We'd like to thank the people that have helped us along the way. Like I said, we started at the Sick House, so we'd like to thank Chelsea Ware for opening the home up to allowing us to begin this process. We'd like to thank Jeremy Brown and Brittany Brown from Nomad's Music Lounge for offering us a venue when we outgrew the Sick House. We'd like to thank the folks at Fayetteville Public Television, Dan Robinson, for continuing to email me for several months saying, we really think that this is something that you could put on Fayetteville Public Television and share with our community. And that really pushed us to up our production value and to really focus hard on and giving a good show but still keeping it about the songwriters. We've been able to, with very limited resources, create something that we hope is going to stick around for a long time.
Well, I don't think it will. I think we've done the legwork, and I continue to work with public access to further our knowledge and to get better gear and better shots, better lighting, better everything. I can't thank them enough.
And I'd like to thank the local community of artists that work with me. All of these artists come in and they volunteer and donate their time to us and their talents. And then they take away, they always leave with a smile on their face. They always hug me. They always say thanks for doing this and when's the next one, and I can't wait to be a part. And then they like our stuff on Instagram and Facebook, and they share all of our links. So, without them, there would be no show. So again, thank you to all of our artists, to our venue. We got a lot coming up. With a little bit of luck, we'll get that going. I'd like to thank my co-host Rance.
Thank you, Amanda.
And we'll see you next time on the Songwriters Circles about the artist.